All right, welcome to The Explainer. If you are a creator, a YouTuber, or you're out there writing comedy skits, you are going to want to grab a notepad for this. Today, we are building the ultimate entertainment storytelling playbook. We've pulled together the absolute best field-tested techniques from Pixar directors, short-form retention experts, and top-tier communication coaches. We're going to take all that and turn you into a master architect of addictive, literally cannot look away content. So let's just dive right in. First off, I need you to ask yourself a pretty terrifying question. Why do your absolute best ideas keep getting swiped past? You know the feeling, right? You spend hours writing, filming, editing, and then boom, the viewer just scrolls away in 3 seconds flat. It hurts. But here's the hard truth we really need to face. Even your most brilliant ideas will die instantly without the right storytelling architecture and curiosity loops. Just having a cool idea, that's not enough anymore. You have to know exactly how to package it so the human brain physically cannot look away. And look, this right here is the core problem most creators run into. They don't realize the massive difference between simply reporting facts and actually entertaining. Reporting facts is just giving a Wikipedia-style summary. It's just information. And frankly, information is boring. Entertainment, on the other hand, creates transformation. It isn't about lecturing your audience, it's about designing a dynamic experience that makes them desperately wonder, wait, no way, what happens next? Okay, section 1, the storytelling engine. Let's get into it. Before we even think about flashy editing or wild jokes, we absolutely have to build the machine that makes it all work. Without this foundational structure, your script isn't a story, it's honestly just a drunk snake crawling across the floor. You know, it's moving, but it's going absolutely nowhere. There are 5 unbreakable steps to narrative structure you gotta nail. 1, your character desperately wants something. 2, something blocks them. 3, the pressure rises. 4, the character is forced to make a difficult choice. And finally, 5, the payoff. Whether you're making a quick 60-second TikTok or pitching a 2-hour movie, this exact engine has got to be humming under the hood. Think about what Andrew Stanton says. He's the legendary Pixar writer behind Toy Story and Finding Nemo. His rule: make the audience work for it. See, human beings have this deeply wired natural drive to problem solve. So never, ever spoon-feed your audience the answers. Give them 2 plus 2, but let them be the ones to say 4. That active participation, that is exactly what glues people to the screen. Now, let's apply this to how you build your scenes. A weak scene just sits there and explains the situation. It's just characters sitting around talking. But a strong scene changes the situation. It drops in some sudden conflict that actively pushes the character into new, really uncomfortable territory. Here's a pro tip. If your scene ends with the character in the exact same emotional state they began in, you need to rewrite it, period. Moving on to section 2, hooks and curiosity loops. Now that we've got our engine built, we need the shiny exterior, right? The psychological framing that acts like a massive speed bump to instantly stop the endless scroll. Creator Calloway actually points out a huge mistake people make here: the audio-only hook. That's literally just you on screen, mouth moving. Visual hooks are 10 times more effective. If you're making a video about strawberries, drop a massive bright red strawberry right on the screen before you even start talking. Our eyes process information way faster than our ears do. You have to give them something to react to instantly. So what exactly are you promising with that visual hook? Well, you need to crack open a loop in the viewer's brain. And there are 5 killer ways to do this: curiosity, tension, danger, contradiction, or making a weird promise. So instead of just saying, hey, here's a gardening tip, you'd say, this bizarre 5-cent trick saved my dying garden. See what we did there? That's a weird promise and a contradiction rolled into one. The human brain absolutely hates an open loop, and the only way for them to close it is to sit there and watch your video. Section 3, escalation. Make it worse. This is all about the secret dance between context and conflict. See, boring stories fix problems quickly. Entertaining stories make the problems continuously, hilariously, or terrifyingly worse before they ever get better. The creators of South Park, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, actually have a legendary rule for exactly this. They say story beats must always be connected by the words therefore or but, and you should never, ever use the phrase and then. Let me show you why. And then is just a really boring detail pileup, like I went to the store, and then I bought milk, and then I came home. Snooze, right? But and therefore create this incredibly addictive conflict loop. Try this. I went to the store, but they were out of milk, therefore I had to go milk a wild cow. But the cow actually belonged to the mafia. You see the difference? Those sudden complications force totally unexpected reactions. And to make those crazy conflicts feel grounded and real, you've got to activate the viewer's mirror neurons. Communication coach Vin Jiang is huge on this. He emphasizes using specific sensory details. So don't just tell me you were nervous. Describe the clammy hands, the smell of stale coffee in the room, the annoying sound of a ticking clock. When you actually engage the senses, the audience's brain chemically simulates the experience. It feels like they are right there in the room with you. All right, section 4, comedy, setups, and payoffs. A lot of creators honestly think comedy is just about acting goofy on camera. It really isn't. Comedy is architecture. It relies on a very strict, almost mathematical kind of logic. There's an exact flow to a comedy narrative. First up, you plant an expectation. Second, you introduce a twist that completely subverts it. Third, you push that twist into some ridiculous escalation. And finally, fourth, you hit them with the consequence. That's your punchline. The joke has to be completely built into the story structure, not just awkwardly sprinkled on top. Let's look at an example. Take a super flat premise like Morty opens a lemonade stand. Yeah, boring. But now, let's bake in that escalation. Morty opens a lemonade stand using alien lemons that make the customers vividly remember every embarrassing thing they've ever done. Boom. Instant tension, totally twisted expectations, and the hilarious consequences are built right into the core pitch. Next up, Section 5, Mastering Short-Form Retention. So how in the world do we take all these massive Pixar-level techniques and compress them down into the ruthless, swipey battleground of 30 to 90-second content? Well, here is the exact 60-second format you need to maximize your retention. You hook them instantly. Then you give just enough context so they understand the stakes. Introduce that tension. Hit them with a rapid escalation to make things worse. Deliver a twist they absolutely didn't see coming, and finish it off with a super satisfying payoff. Guys, this isn't just some cheap dopamine trick. This is actual, proper storytelling compressed into a perfect infinite loop. To pull this off quickly without getting bogged down, use storytelling expert Philippe Hum's 5 elements to really zoom in. Don't give us a boring, helicopter-level summary of your day. Drop us directly down into the trenches. Give us a hyper-specific location, physical actions, raw thoughts, vivid emotions, and really juicy, punchy dialogue. Which brings us to a massively important rule. You have to stop reporting and start reliving. Don't summarize past events like a Wikipedia article. I was really scared when the dog barked. No, relive it in the present tense. I am standing there. My palms are dripping sweat, and suddenly this massive dog just bares its teeth. Using the present tense makes the audience physically experience that exact moment with you. And finally, Section 6, your daily storytelling workout. We've covered a ton of theory, but now it is time to build the muscle. I'm going to give you a practical checklist you can run through every single day before you write a script or film a skit. Take a boring idea and run it right through this drill. A character wants something. They use an extreme method to get it. It backfires terribly. This leads to a revelation, and it all ends with a sharp final line. Let's try it. A guy wants to beat inflation. That's the want. So he builds a multiverse coupon machine. Extreme method. But it summons broke versions of himself who steal all his groceries. Backfire. He realizes he is literally his own worst enemy. Revelation. And the final line? Capitalism didn't collapse, it just got a multiverse expansion pack. Also, as you're writing all this out, you've got to pay attention to your rhythm. Writer Gary Provost and creator Calloway talk about this a lot. If every single one of your sentences is the exact same length, your script is going to sound incredibly monotonous. You'll sound like a droning robot, and viewers will subconsciously just click away. But if you mix short sentences, medium sentences, and then you drop in a beautifully long, flowing sentence that builds and builds and builds to a powerful crescendo, you're creating music. It keeps the listener's ear incredibly happy and engaged. And that brings us to our final, probably most important rule of the day. Entertainment storytelling is controlled curiosity. It is not about lecturing. It is never about boring data dumps. It is entirely about expertly designing an engine of desire, constantly escalating the conflict, and making your audience physically need to know what happens next. So I'll leave you with this. What open loop are you going to create for your viewers tomorrow? Keep practicing, keep making the conflict worse, and whatever you do, make them work for it.